Hello guys, and welcome to a new Star Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 1 of a best of 5 between Nilla and Underthesea in the grand final of the Season 6 playoffs of the Steel Division 2 League. Today they are playing on Siedlce, and on our left in the red team we have Nilla playing on the Axis side using the 11th SS Freiwilligen Panzergrenadier Nordland and the Maverick deployment type. And on our right in the blue team playing also on the Axis side we have Underthesea using the 5th Cavalerie Motorizata and the Maverick deployment type. Both these players come a long way to the final. Nilla, in fact, seeded second in his group, so had to go through both the quarters and semi-finals to get here, defeating Jack and Vesely in the semi-finals. That semi-final bout between him and Vesely was very, very good, so definitely make sure to check that out if you missed it. But Underthesea had a little bit of an easier time. He topped his group, and then, well, he had to go up against Gonzo, in fact, so maybe not the easiest time. He actually managed to 2-0 Gonzo, which was awesome, so very well played. And now we have two titans in the final between Nilla and Underthesea, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing them fight. So there you go, let's have a look at some of these units going down. On the side of Nilla, he's got a Flammenwerfer and a SBW-231 on the top side. He's got a SBW-2342 Puma there with a Panzerschreck, 2 Panzergrens, 3 Panzergrens and a Flammenwerfer. Then he's got another SBW-231, another Puma, Panzerschreck, Pioneers, Pioneer Führer, Panzergrens and a Flammenwerfer. Flammenwerfer just on that road, and on the bottom side here, 2 Flammenwerfer, Puma, Schwedenzug. There's going to be the Pioneers here, Panzergrens and the Pioneer Führer. Looks like he's just moved that 2-3-1 from the mid to the bottom side here to help with the engagement in the closer ranges. Schwedenzug is a unit that you might not see too often. It is in fact a recon unit. I think it comes with a close range HE bundle grenade. On the side of Underthesea though, he's got Roscioli with a 45mm AT gun there, Granatieri and a Panzerschreck. Further down we've got the ZB and the 45mm AT gun. There's going to be heading to the centre another 47 Breda with a Panzerschreck, Granatieri, Roscioli and an Abu Usor. And there's 2 R2s coming up behind. 2 more Roscioli there with the Cavalerie. And then we see the Breda on the bottom side here with Pionieri Cavalerie and Pionier Cavalerie leader with 2 Roscioli and 2 R1s and an R2. Interesting to see these R1s. Zoom in on these. They are small 10-point, I believe, machine gun tanks. Tiny little bit amount of armor. Reasonable support for your infantry at close range, but get taken out by AT rifles very, very quickly. Against the 11th SS, not going to be so much of a problem. Very unlikely he's going to have to deal with AT rifles from the Axis side. So this might work out quite well. And there's also an R2 here, which is one of the old like Panzer 38s, I believe. 2 R2s here do have that 40mm penetration and 60mm armor. They're heading up. Cavalerie looking for the Pioneer. Oh, we have a Narado at the start. Oh boy, this is going to be the one with the 1,000 kilogram bomb. He's looking for hits onto this infantry. Underthesea's already pulling back. It is going to pin down that one unit, but no damage was done. Ju-87 also coming out at the start here. 2 Ju-87s. Nilla really, really focusing hard on this airplay. He's looking to kill off that squad. Nice kill onto the Cavalerie there. Granatieri moving up. These Granatieri squads very interesting. They do have the 8 rifles, the machine gun, but also a sniper in a 10-man squad. Makes them very, very good. And the Roscioli, also a very strong infantry squad at range with the 7 carbines and the 2 ZBs there. The guns of the Roscioli do slightly more DPS than your standard rifles, I believe, because they have like that little bit extra accuracy that you can see there and the slightly higher rate of fire. They're a little bit stronger. Granatieri going to be moving back here. Looks like the Panzergrens are going to be able to get into a decent position. With the current patch, these MG-26 Panzergrenadiers are actually pretty nice because they can use their machine guns within the 100 meter range. So they do defeat Granatieri quite handily because you've got 2 machine guns versus 1 machine gun. at close range, so the suppression of the Panzergrenadier MG26 is going to be a little bit better. We're going to see an aircraft go down there. I wasn't entirely sure what that is, but the double Ju-87 getting the job done. Flammenwerfer does get taken out on the bottom side. Russiade do have a decent position here, but that is 3-star Pioneers with this Pioneer Führer. Is there a commander on this bottom side? I don't believe there is, so those must have just come in with the 2-star Veterancy, and Nilla's going to be looking to use those to take out the Russiade at close range. The Cavalerie are also very nice at range with the 6 rifles and the 2 machine guns, plus the HE bundle grenade if anything gets too close. But it looks like Veterancy here is going to win out with the Russiade engagement. This Pioneer, however, does get pinned just as I say that, and looks like it might go down. BF 109 E7's coming in to take down the Ju-87s. Looks like one did go down. This is likely what we saw get shot out the sky earlier. No movement from these R1s further down. These R1s in this situation might be quite nice as long as they keep range from the Panzerfaust on the Panzergrens, because there's no way for any of this infantry to really kill them otherwise. But we'll see how we get on down here with Underthesea continuing the engagement at long range. Both of these Panzerguns are now in heavy cover, so they're not at a cover disparity like they were before, but they seem to have already taken quite a lot of suppression, and that's going to be a double surrender there as the Pioneer Führer falls back, so nicely done. But things are currently sitting on a 13-11, with this flag here being the contested one in the center of the map. So no player really coming out massively on top with the initial engagements. The abundance of air from Nilla hasn't seemed to have completely paid off, but he does have an Arado in his back pocket now. The only way that I can see Underthesea taking that down is if he has either an abundance of AA to hit an Arado if it heads straight towards it. So if there was, say, 4 Hotchkisses here, they might shoot down the Arado if it was heading straight towards them. The other way to do it would be to have the fighters preemptively flying around and then hope that you could intercept the Arado. But with a BF 109 E7, it's probably unlikely. Panzerstreck here might get taken out for free by the Pioneers if he's not too careful. That wouldn't be something you want to happen. Grenadier nearly take out the Pioneers there. Schwittenzug on the bottom side, not really so much. It looks like things have just kind of chilled out here. Underthesea reinforcing himself with more infantry. Let's keep an eye on this engagement as the R2 moves forwards. There's also the Breda here. It's going to be opening up potentially with HE. Don't think Underthesea wants to use that for HE. He's going to be wanting to use that to take out the Pumas if they move forwards. The AB Ursor and the R2, they're going to find the Flammenwerfer there. Nice thing about these R2s is they do, of course, have decent optics. So got the high optics there, so they can spot infantry on the edge of the tree lines. Arado, though, coming in with the bomb. And this BF 109 E7, way too late. Underthesea knows it. Is that bomb going to do anything? No. Landed in the middle of both of them. Nice spread there from Underthesea to avoid either getting killed. A direct hit might have done the job since they are quite low armor and low health, especially on the AB Ursor. Not sure quite how much health an R2 has. Grenadier have managed to force the Flammenwerfer off the flag, which is going to level things out for the time being. The Grenadier really nice for moving across open ground because of that sniper. But MG26 Panzergren squads are getting picked off here by the R2 and the AB Ursor. The Puma is going to want to do something about that, but these Pumas can't really safely engage the AB Ursor or the R2 whilst they're being spotted by this infantry, because the R2 is going to be able to pre-align its gun to the Puma, and whilst the Puma can do the same, it's going to be, 50-50, whereas the Pumas are probably much more valuable to keep alive than the R2s, quite simply because of that extra penetration. So you wouldn't want to sacrifice a Puma for an R2. That would be a bit of a waste. Another 45mm coming in here, setting up on the hill, looking to potentially get shots onto these Pumas as they move out of the light cover. We're going to see towards the centre of the map, Cavalerie moving in to secure that flag, and 2 60mm mortars now on the way. He's going to be putting them with his AA, so that if the Arado tries to come in and bomb them, it might get taken down. Biddenzug now continuing on this bottom side. They are actually sneaking all the way around the back side of the map. We've seen plays like this happen before. I believe Underthesea actually did this to Gonzo in the semi-finals, where he took out 2 off-map vehicles with the PTRS squad. Obviously, Biddenzug not quite the same. Doesn't really have that ranged AT capability, but definitely going to be useful having a recon squad in the backline to see what is reinforcing, and if he can determine that there isn't really too much on his way, then he can build up his own push and make a play before the opponent brings in their forces. Also, it might open up opportunities for Arados to go deep and bomb stuff that's coming in on the roads. Nice kill there from the 88. Actually takes out the Granatiere that was on 2 health. So good job indeed. Cavalerie now moving up onto the hill to give some recon across the open ground. Doesn't seem to be much going on in this town at the moment. But the Flammenwerfer plus the Panzergrenadier might try and make a move on the Rosciare. Rosciare, however, do have the automatic rifles, so are definitely going to be at an advantage at close range against Panzergrenadiers, unless the Flammenwerfer can unseat them successfully from the buildings before they get killed. R1 is actually moving to the centre as well. 2 now Jagdpanzer Su-76 is moving up. It seems like both players investing in pretty light armour. The Su-76 is really nice for picking off other light armour though, because it can aim really fast. Also with that HE does allow it to take on the Granatiere and other infantry units at range. So here we go, Flammenwerfer maybe going to make a little bit of a play in the town, has dropped the smoke so that he can run across the open here to get to the building on the other side. And now he's going to hope that he can jump in there, get some flames into the Rosciare, push them out the building so the Panzergrenadiers can get some shots on target. That would be the ideal. The Rosciare, while they're moving, aren't going to do a lot of damage, so he's just got to keep the Flammenwerfer doing their thing. Looks like the Rosciare, they went straight on top of the Panzergrenadiers. Panzergrenadiers took quite a lot of damage there. Flammenwerfer's going to have to jump forwards again to unseat this Rosciare, and if he can make them both fall back, he might even manage to solidify that flag. But we are going to see the IAR-37 come in. Those are biplanes with 12 50-kilogram bombs, which are pretty useful. ZB-53 going to be pinning down the MG-26s here. We also see off-map now coming in over onto Nilla's side of the top. The IAR, tried to go for the bombing strike. Absolutely shut down by the 88. And then the Focke-Wulf kills it off. Ju-87 trying to take care of the ZB there. But it's going to reveal the position of the Hotchkiss. One of the Rosciare did get finished off by that Panzergren. But it looks like, they're going to get caught out in the open. And those Panzergrens are going to get chewed up very quickly indeed. Yeah, you do not want to be in no cover versus a heavy cover unit. Arado coming in for the bottom side. It seems like Nilla's kind of just probing with these Arados to see if he can get any cheeky kills, and here, bang on the Granatiere. Very nice indeed. Puma looking for the Granatiere hit there. SPW-231, easy kill onto the R1. Quite simply because these have pretty much no armor, so should be able to kill it over time. The effectiveness of these autocannons at range isn't ideal, but looks like the R2 is going to come down to reply, and that might actually be able to get the kill there. It did land one penetrating shot. It's going to get the second. 231 goes down. 81mm mortars now looking to engage the armor that was pushed up here after the off map. That's just to allow a little bit of breathing room for Nilla's infantry to push back after the off-map strike. But with this play in the centre taking out the second Rosciare squad with the Flammenwerfer and the Panzergren, seems he's managed to grab himself a 15-9. New Rosciare on the way to counter that and take back a couple of these flags. But it looks like Nilla's wanting to solidify his position in this town. And it does make sense. There isn't too much that the 5th Cavalerie Motorizata can do at range, especially against like a decent chunk of armor, and the 11th SS can bring in some decent armor that the 5th really can't deal with at range. So looks like Underthesea is opting to use 122. So he's got the 122 mils here. Quite a lot of points being spent at the same time though, so maybe Underthesea was floating a little bit. But yeah, these 122s will be able to engage stuff at longer range. They're not as reliable as, say, like your average tank, but they will one-shot pretty much any tank that they fire at. So that's something that's going for them. As long as they hit, their accuracy can also be a bit of a problem sometimes. Focke-Wulf being used to strafe on this top side. Looks like Nilla trying to make good use of his airplay. BF-109 E7 hanging about over his own AA here, trying to bait in the Focke-Wulf for a favourable engagement. Ritter going to be engaging the Pioneers. Reveals it to Nilla's Panzergrenadier, so he's going to be moving back to take that out. Oh, there's also the Siedlce, of course. How could I forget about the Siedlce? This is a very, very strong AT gun. It has some crazy rate of fire. 15 round per minute rate of fire with no veterancy. Takes care of armor very quickly in the open. So Su-76 is going down, just a little bit vulnerable to these mortars, for example. But with the Rosciare being pinned, Panzergrenadiers are going to look for the surrender. Don't quite do so. Coming under fire briefly from the Hotchkiss. Just out of line of sight there. Those Panzergrenadiers should probably be dead. It looks like Underthesea is going to try and make a play back towards Nilla. Across these trees. Cavalerie supported by Rosciare. Going to try and move up and solidify their engagement. But with the Ju-87 coming in, oh, that certainly chunks those units, doesn't it? A double OB-122 coming in, actually unloaded early here. He's going to be using them to potentially take out this Panzergrenadier, as he does have a direct line of sight there. There's a lot of AA building up in the center right now. Going to be 4 Hotchkisses here, plus a Bofors. This Ju-87 is very, very dead, I think. Yep, it goes down exceptionally quickly. Rosciare moving back. Panzergrenadier's also going to be moving out, but the Puma looking for the R2 kill. Puma does slightly outrange the R2. R2's only going to have 1,000 meter range with that small caliber gun. And Stug there taking out the R1, no problem. Poor little tank. Grenadier now moving up to engage the Panzergrenadiers, but with an IG here, that could be scary. Those Grenadier going to go up in smoke any second. Ooh, they get pinned down at least. Now the OBs here moving into cover, looking for the shutdown onto the AA. The Sea is going to be wanting to get some of his aircraft online by the looks of things. Also, the 88 does make it a little bit difficult to move forwards because it can cover the road. But another Arado bomber coming in on this bottom side, and no dodge this time from Underthesea. Nilla kept probing for it, and this time he finds a triple kill with that bomber. Wonderful job there. Now these Panzergrenadiers pushing all the way through. The Schwedenzug back here was causing all sorts of problems by the looks of things. Holy moly, I didn't even realize this was happening. Took out 2 of these 222 vehicles plus reinforcements, and the Cavalerie there managing to finish things off. And with that done, it looks like I was going to say these Panzergrenadiers are going to make it through, but the same thing just happened to Nilla completely voluntarily. He just launched all of those transports in there, and one Rosciare squad destroyed them all. Incredible. 88 taking out the AB Horch. Grenadier really not surviving too well here. It looks like he's also kind of a bit weak on this top side. The 259s, so if they engage the Rosciare and the Grenadier here, that could be really, really bad. Loads of Rosciare trying to pull in on the bottom side, but things are kind of getting out of hand. We have moved into Phase B, so the Maverick deployment type making things very, very hectic. But because both players are Maverick, what this means is if one player gets an advantage, which Nilla certainly has at the moment, then it can get pretty bad very quickly. IAR coming in. Is it going to drop a decent off map? It's going to put it down. Focke-Wulf's going to definitely clear it up. Let's see if this off map can make the difference. He's placed it a little bit further back. I think that's on purpose because he's going to expect Nilla to fall back, thinking it's going to be maybe a little bit further up. But it seems like that's going to work perfectly. The off-map's going to land right on top of all of these units. The main thing here is if he can kill the Stug. Nope, not going to happen. The 20 mils open up with the machine guns from the Panzergrenadiers, and the Siedlce just gets absolutely owned. All of these units getting pinned down very, very quickly by these recon units. With the Siedlce gone, this Stug probably won't die from the off map. That's really, really bad. These 122s, looks like they were trying to engage the tanks as well, but that's not gonna quite happen. I mean, the Stug might just kill off that OB. The OB can definitely one-shot a Stug, but the Stug's going to get the last shot in there. And, well, Nilla certainly went for it on that bottom side, but it didn't quite pay off. Had all of his armoured cars taken out. We're now going to see these 259s, however, moving up onto the hill, straight into Underthesea's unprotected mortars. And if he can get some more kills here onto, like, the Hotchkiss and the 122 mils, this is going to be really, really bad. The Rushari trying to find the surrenders through the off-map on this bottom side, but doesn't look like he's going to get that many. Unfortunately, this Panzergrenadier Pioneer managing to get enough crossfire to keep these alive. Stop them surrendering. Nilla, fantastic plays across the board. It's absolutely on fire, this game right now. 259 has taken out both of those AA pieces and the Cavalerie. The Panzergrenadiers currently taking care of units on the top, and it seems like Nilla's just upped the pace completely in this game, and Underthesea's really, really struggling to keep up with his division. He doesn't have a way to deal with this Stug, so the AB Horches are kind of stuck in position right now, but maybe the Rushari can jump into a building where they can get the 100 meter range to drop their AT grenade. That would be the ideal. Or Rushari go down. It took the SDK of Z7 with it because the IG just blew it up with a HE. Looks like point blank, the 122, they're going to take out the 259. That was crucial because it almost killed both of those, which would have been a huge loss. Now the IG in the middle, also pinning down two Rushari on the top side. Everywhere is just collapsing for Underthesea right now. This is not looking good. Oh, Rushari just took a massive hit again on the top side. Ju-87 going to be the answer here for Underthesea to take out the Stug 3. And then with the Stug 3 taken care of, he can use the AB Horses to support his Rushari as they engage the Pioneers here. Pioneers, however, at close range will defeat Rushari pretty handily. So he's got to find the right units to get in here, and he's going to probably need the Cavalerie, but he's going to lack the numbers, I would expect, to match up to the Pioneers on that bottom side. Also the AR-234 coming up again, the Arado. Going to be dropping a bomb straight onto the Rushari squads. That must be so frustrating for Underthesea to deal with. Both of them getting pinned down, one of them falling back. Looks like the 122 did take out the 88 on the high ground, so that was a good kill from the 122. But these 122s, unfortunately, seem to have been a bit lackluster. The investment into the 122s as artillery is not something that I expected. I would have expected him to have maybe try and use them as direct fire, which I think he was going to with the initial two here. But as artillery, I guess they can be good if you've got radars, but otherwise they can be really lackluster. They have a very big dispersion, the 122s, if you don't have a radar. Or a radio, sorry, not a radar. Just take out one of the 88s though in the center. There's now one left there. So the AA net that Nilla has been broken down quite a bit. Still an SDK of Z7-1 on this bottom side that might catch a plane off guard, but I think Underthesea has bigger things to worry about at the moment, as currently it's 17 flags to 7 in favour of Nilla. Only 5 minutes left on the clock. The AB Usor and the AB Horch currently trying to engage the 259, but caught on both flanks, and they're going to be falling back, taken out by the 259s. Rushari looking for a cheeky AT kill there. Will they find it? Yes, they will. On the top side, things fell apart here after the initial engagements. And it looks like the Panzergren's going to continue to move up with the support of the Pumas, which are still alive. Nilla really placing a lot of emphasis on keeping those Pumas alive, kept them very safe at the back. Has used up a lot of HE shells. This Puma actually ran out of HE shells taking on infantry at range. Now we're seeing, what is that? The SK-100 counter-battering the 122s there. Will eventually get a hit on target, and when they do, might be able to take out either with one shot. Doesn't really look like Underthesea is going to be making back ground here on the bottom side anytime soon. He's got to clear out these two pioneers in order to do so. Unfortunately, Granatieri not quite getting the favourable engagements that they want. Like ideally for Granatieri, they're really good at like the 750 meter range where they engage with their machine gun and their sniper. Whereas when they get closer, they can often get outmatched by other units. But unfortunately, yeah, that's it for Underthesea. I feel like in this matchup, the 11th SS is just way better than the 5th Cavalerie Motorizata. I was very surprised to see the emphasis on like the R1s and R2s at the start. The R2s make sense because they can counter the light armored vehicles of like the 259s and the 231s and even the Pumas. But the R1s kind of seem like a little bit of a waste of points at the start, just because they're not able to cross open ground very well. They're so slow that they just get picked off by light AT. And unless you can get them like really close into the light cover to support your infantry early on, they're not going to really do much damage. Well, they don't really do damage anyway, but they're just not great on the suppression. Obviously, there's a lot more to this game than the R1s, but I think it mainly came down to the fact that Nilla was probing all over the map. He kept up the momentum very, very early on. Very, very good aggression from Nilla. As soon as it was in Phase B, there was stuff happening all over the map, and I was trying to keep up for you guys and doing my best. But yeah, so much going on. Nilla putting air attacks everywhere with the Ju-87s and the Arado coming in right at the start, keeping Underthesea on his toes, and as soon as Underthesea is not paying attention, that Arado hit a lovely strike onto that infantry, completely opened up the bottom side for Nilla's infantry to move forwards. There wasn't really much answer to these armored pieces until the Siedlce came in and cleaned up the second, or cleaned up the middle. But the trouble with the Siedlce is it's vulnerable to AT, or vulnerable to artillery, sorry, and also airstrikes, just like any other static AT weapon. And that's why the 5th struggles across the open ground, because they don't have like any strong armored units that can solidify open ground in the same way that a Stug 4, for example, can do that for Nilla. Another Stug here. You see the IGs in the center did a great job, and lovely moves by the 259s, taking out 2 of those mortars, and 2 of the AA pieces in the center really broke down Underthesea's air defense, which allowed for more airstrikes to come in. It seemed like Nilla was also able to shut down the IARs. Like the IAR recon planes are another reason that you use the 5th Cavalerie Motorizata, because they not only provide recon, but the 1250 kilogram bombs can wipe out infantry squads and AT squads quite effectively, and just support weapons in general. But if you have your opponent taking 2 Ju-87s out at the start of the game, it makes it very difficult to make use of biplanes. So I think Nilla was just completely on point with what he wanted to do in this game, and that's what basically gave him the victory. It was decisive, and he pushed in multiple areas on the map, kept Underthesea on the back foot throughout the game, and slowly grew a lead that snowballed, and it became a critical mass where Nilla could push through, secure all of those flags, secure the +2 or the ×2 on the tickets, and yeah, that was basically it. The Siedlce was covered for a little bit by the AA, but you can see before the Siedlce came in, there really wasn't much favourable engagements for Underthesea. Whereas if we go over to Nilla, like the same time span is probably all of this lot, you can see his units are trading like a lot more favourably. he's getting like 2 to 3 kills per unit, whereas Under the Sea is only getting maybe 1 per unit. So that starts to really add up in a matchup where both players have the same income type. But either way, that is it for game 1. An explosive start to this best of 5 series. Nilla really putting his stamp on this final. We'll have to see if Under the Sea can bring it back in game 2. But congratulations to Nilla on the first game. Got hopefully 4 more to go, but we'll see. That is it for now. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.